Take that lid off.
Bob, they obviously didn't think they needed any extra air.
Okay, you think this is a Caucasian colony?
I don't know.
Look what they did with that cracked lid. Peel that off. I want that actually. It looks no bee guts, no dead bees.
All right. Yeah, that's a chunk right there, bro.
Yeah, and you got the chunk right there too. So I'm gonna eat some of that.
That's some beef jerky there.
Yeah, that's what the Caucasian bees are famous for. Propolis, and lots of it in some cases. It's interesting now, the Caucasian bees I was using back in the 80s and 90s actually were much worse. I don't know what the difference is today. We still see a lot of propolis, but it's not as bad as it was, you know, a couple decades ago.
That's some good looking stuff.
Yeah, that lid's we just caulked that a couple of weeks ago. They just did that in a couple of weeks. So, good stuff. Okay, we're doing a little bit of everything in this yard. We're lifting honey over escape boards. We've got a lot of nucs on double screen boards, which we're going to be using to requeen the colonies below. Some of these colonies have new queens in them, but some of them have queens from last year, and we'll be using these nucs to replace the queens from last year. I'll show a little bit about how we do that. Seth had a triple nuc stack over there. What you seeing, Seth? You got some good ones?
I got one good one on top. Looks pretty good in the middle. And the bottoms, I don't know what.
Haven't been to the bottom. The top two are good. We actually do this from time to time. Do a triple story with double screen boards. What you got?
Got my queen right here.
You got what?
Doing a good job. The old queen right here.
That's an old queen. Okay, just kill her. Yeah, if you're sure.
And you want to requeen with this nuke? It's pretty small. It's a pretty small one, like 2 frames of brood.
Yeah, we like bigger nucs to requeen with. Show me another frame of brood. Let me hold this with her on it. I want that pattern reminds me of a new queen.
Yeah, she's got
So,
a really nice pattern.
I think this is a new queen. I really do. This is too new, too perfect.
Yeah.
If this was an older queen, we wouldn't be seeing that solid of a sheet of brand new stuff.
Okay.
So I think she's a brand new queen. I think somebody forgot to write on the top of the lid, honestly.
So you want to keep her?
I want to keep her as a brand new queen, yeah. That's why it's so important to write on the lids. But this is just obviously a new queen because of the way the pattern is. This is all brand new brood. It's hatching in the middle. She's relaying it with eggs. It just looks too textbook perfect to be a queen that's been in there since last year. This frame is the same way. Yeah, I can see the next frame. This is a brand new queen. You can just tell by all the brood pattern. Somebody boo-booed, forgot to write on the lid. So Brandon also has a colony that had no writing on the lid. Now I'm going to say that this is obviously an older queen because this is pretty extensive drone brood and everything else. But let's look at the center. Let's go right to the center. We're pretty good about writing on lids. I think somebody just boo-booed on that one. I think the rest will be okay. Yeah, can you see the difference between what she had, you know, how hers was just kind of brand new and fresh. This has been established a while. Let's look at one more. Yeah, that's an established queen. In fact, there she is. She's got a yellow dot on her. So, off with her head. She's doing a good job. I know I'm going to get a comment on YouTube, like, you know, I want that queen. So how was your nuke good on the top?
It only had foundation and one frame in the
One
middle.
frame of brood.
She was a little small and she didn't have
Oh, that's right, yeah. We'll find a better nuke. This yard is full of nukes, and a lot of these colonies already have a nuke queen, so we'll use one of these other nukes for requeening this colony.
Okay.
Just leave it apart and move on to the next colony. It's almost like every colony is different. This one was a dud. It was queenless, so I took it away. Selena had a nuke that was a little on the small side, and I put it in this spot. They'll be receiving the field force that existed with the dud. Brandon just killed the queen in this box, and that's a pretty big box of bees. So I'm just going to move it away. I took a nuke off the top of this one. This had 2 new queens in it, so I can take the nuke away. I didn't need the nuke to requeen this colony. So that's a pretty solid nuke right there. It can take care of itself. I've got a bunch of brood in this old box that I want to do something with. So that's brood. That's brood. So that's 6 frames of brood in that nuke. That's a nice nuke. So I'm going to start depleting this box by adding it to some of these other things. That's pollen, which is great. Now, you know, if we were in a robbing mode right now, what we're doing with our colonies all wide open like this, that would be problematic. These bees are bringing in a little nectar. They're kind of preoccupied, so the work we're doing right now is pretty easy. I think there's very little danger of these queens getting killed by the old field force. There's a pretty good sheet of brood that's hatching. I'm going to boost this small nuke with a few of these. Yeah, full of hatching bees. The field force is out right now, so that's helpful. That's full of pollen and brood. That's about as much as I want to put in that small nuke. Might replace a couple of these foundations with something that's already drawn out. That's good stuff. Partial drawn, that's a start. Okay. So I am going to put a super on it, although I fully expect them to take a while before they put honey in it. I want to give them the space, so I'll put an excluder and an empty super on this colony. We won't have to worry about it for a while. Excluders go with the cross wires down, cross wires go down. That does a better job of creating the proper bee space under there. That's good, they're good for now. This thing is such a big nuke, I have no problem stuffing as much brood in there as I want. It's going to transition from a nuke with 6 frames of brood. That's 7 frames of brood, and I think I'll give them this drone comb too. And then the same routine. They'll get an excluder and a super, and every colony is going to get a little different routine. That's just kind of what worked here with this combination of a small nuke, a dud, a big nuke, requeening. Every scenario is just a little bit different. Go ahead. Okay, so as we work through this yard, we're generating extra brood. We just kind of stash it in boxes like this, and then when we run across something that we can add brood to, we do it. it's inevitable that if you're putting a nuke in an established colony, you're going to end up with some extra frames, and we're just kind of stashing the brood where we can and using it when we can, and by the time we're done in here, it'll all be gone, evened out. Okay, now we're back to collecting queens in nukes that were, boy, that was lucky, first frame.
Yeah.
How'd you do that? One of our Caucasian queens. And we don't want them too big and we don't want them too small. This one looks like just about the right size. It's 3 good drawn combs, and foundations are being worked on a little bit on the outside. We need them to not be too big so they have room to expand if a honey flow comes along, but we don't want them too small from this point on because we could run into hive beetle trouble. That's one of the good things about a 5-frame nuke box, that you can they can be big enough to handle hive beetles if they have to. It's one of the problems with baby nukes. Not only can baby nukes not you can't allow the queens to lay too long, but they don't get big enough to take care of themselves when hive beetles start to be an issue. It's just the first part of June, so hive beetles aren't an issue yet. I mean, we don't even see any in here, but I guarantee you by August and September that if the nukes aren't big enough, we'll have issues. So I like to see these nukes to be at least 3 to 4 frames, and that's exactly what we're looking at. You got a dud, Seth?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bob.
So after 1 month, even if they raise their own, it's crystal clear whether they took or not. If in 1 month they'll be sealed brood if it was from our queen cell, and if for some reason they raise their own, which does occasionally happen, then there'd be young open larvae. You got a dud too?
No, it's not a dud. It just, they raise their own.
Oh,
Okay, so this one raised their own for some reason. Either they didn't accept our cell or our cell didn't hatch, which that occasionally happens too. So, and it's okay. These are pretty good sized nukes, and they had good nutrition during this time. There's the sign where they raised their own right there, that little remnants of a queen cell. So we'll harvest them and use them too, as long as they look good and it looks like they're doing good. I'm okay with that. We don't like to sell them much. They built a bunch of cells, didn't they?
Yeah.
You got eggs and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Okay, she's there.
Yeah, they look good.
And then here's another problem. If the nukes are too big, it makes it hard to find the queen.
Yeah,
For some reason this is too big. We may have not split it when we were here a month ago, or didn't split it hard enough.
right.
Because you got a solid 5 frames and 3 or 4 frames of brood in that,
Yeah,
don't
no,
you?
this thing's a big one.
Yeah, I think we missed splitting this one, so
Okay, all right.
we'll blame it on the person that doesn't work here anymore.
Okay.
We won't mention names, but that's
Or the
our habit. If something's wrong, we just blame it on who isn't here
Or
anymore.
the helpers, anybody, other than us.
Anyway, so we got 174 cells to use today, and that's how many nukes I guess we'll have to make queenless. Got a lot of nukes in this yard, more than I'm comfortable with actually. We routinely have 200 to 400 in this spot because it's such a good spot, but obviously we can't have a bear fence around all that. And I think what keeps us out of trouble is we got the highway right there on that side. I don't think the bears come across the highway much, and then the racket helps keep them out of here. And then on this side of the yard we have a very deep ditch, ravine I guess I should call it, with a pretty good sized creek running down through the middle. Oh, I caught that on camera. And for some reason we just don't get bears in here, so thank goodness. I check this yard often. We drive through here a lot just to make sure that, you know, something hasn't happened. Boy, a bear could cause us a lot of damage real quick. Right now we got about 300 nukes in this yard, plus that bee yard right there.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's the perfect size for right now. These nukes will actually be overwintered nukes later. Right now we just, gosh, what is this? The 3rd round? This is the 3rd round for these.
I believe so.
Yeah, 3rd round. And because we're constantly breaking the brood cycle, mites are not a problem at this point. Of course, we'll treat them with something before they go into winter, but when you consistently break the brood cycle over and over and over in a situation like this, mites, they kind of keep ahead of the mites. It's not a problem.
Mine.
That was yours, okay.
Downhill.
So you see that anthill under that thing?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, just pick it up and move it aside when you're done. Ants love to build under these nucs. There is something we could do if we so chose, and I know a queen producer that carries a little pump sprayer full of diesel fuel. No, seriously.
Oh, no, it works.
It works. Just put a squirt or two under the nuc before you set it down, and the ants won't build under it.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. Just a little squirt of diesel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Not very environmentally friendly, but
Well.
ants in our nucs isn't very friendly either.
Going green.
Going green. Well, we could use off-road diesel. It's got green dye in it.
Yes, sir.
We'll go green. You look fine, John.
Okay. Okay.
But I gotta say, Selena keeps beating you in this.
I know.
She's finding a lot more queens than you, John.
Oh, I won't even deny. She's good at it. She is.
good
She's really
at
good
it,
at
yeah.
finding queens.
I think we just need to go pull honey and let her find queens. That's
No,
what
I don't like the sound of that either.
Gotta get the full
Right, I'd rather look for queens.
So we'll put a few attendants in there. We're only partially done. It's lunchtime. Every week, once a week, I try to buy the crew lunch, and today's that day.
You're happy.
So Selena, you're the winner so far. Silly girl. Okay, so we had a pretty good mating success here. The ones that are marked with red on the cages are ones that we believe that they raised themselves. It wasn't our cell. And that happens. Not every cell hatches, or not every cell is accepted. And we didn't make a home for every single cell that we have, but it's better to have a few extra cells than not enough. So all in all, pretty good mating. I'm just going to take a wild guess at 85% maybe, something like that.
Yeah.
I haven't done the math, but so some of these are getting sold tomorrow. A handful will be used by us. Actually, I guess most of them are being sold tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll have about 10 or 20 left for us next week. Do some requeening. And we will put more attendants in that so they can spend the night till we sell them tomorrow. We've got wet sponges in there. We've got some queen cage type of candy in there, so they'll be good for the night with a few more attendants. Good job, guys.
Ooh.
Well, our little observation hive has surprised us all. It swarmed 3 times. Obviously the first one would have been the older original queen, and then another one with a virgin, and a third one with a virgin. And there were so few bees, we thought it had swarmed itself to death and had no hope. And I came in here to get it, take it outside and introduce a nuc to it. And lo and behold, there's a little patch of brood in there. Looks like we do have a queen. So it'll take them a long time to build back because they're so small, but they've got time. It's just the 1st of June. They'll be ready for winter, I believe. And we don't treat this thing for mites, so all of that swarming probably was a good thing for mite control. And they're starting to put in a little nectar, oddly enough, and hopefully it'll make it through winter.
Did you see her?
See what? You don't want to be in the video today? I was going to ask if it was a busy day.
It was a busy day for me.
Busy day, yeah. Oh, was it a busy day, Molly?
It was a busy day, yes.
So Molly's been busy stocking the beekeeping supply portion of the store, getting ready for tomorrow, which is Saturday.
Yep. And I've done a lot of paperwork.
Okay, good for you guys. Smokers, we sell a lot of smokers, don't we?
Yes.
Which one which one sells the best?
This one.
That one right there, the
Yeah.
4x7 with the grate on it, or the finger
Well,
guard.
the reason is because, you know, when you're in the bee yard, you can kind of do this and then still
Yeah.
do what you got to do. The other one, you would like burn your legs.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Okay. You ready for tomorrow?
I'm ready.